Aknight dress watch. So this watch is actually a homage and paying tribute to the Rolex Oyster Perpetual. Now what's unique about this watch, it's not just the red dial, which I think is, well, a bit off trend considering that the blue faces are now really trendy. Of course, we only get a quartz movement here. This is 5 ATM water resistant, so really just splash proof. But we do get a stainless steel watch case here. We do get a solid stainless steel bracelet as well. It's not a push down crown, but it does look like we have a screw down case back. In this particular review, we'll be taking a look at this watch and decide whether it's really worth your time and money. I like the fact that it cost me just $13. That's right, $13. And we could see that there are thousands of these watches that were sold on AliExpress. Now, I do emphasize this fact so strongly because I've seen quite a few watches which cost up to $100. And, well, they aren't much better lookers than this particular watch. So without further ado, let's get into this review of the Aknight dress watch. First of all, let's talk about the dimensions of this watch. So we have a diameter of just 39 millimeters. We get a lug-to-lug distance of 53 millimeters. So if you do have a slender wrist, be mindful of the potential overhang. Now my wrist is just 6.5 inches, so that's quite a slender wrist, and yet the watch sits quite well on it, and there doesn't seem to be any overhang. Now the thickness here is just 11.4 millimeters. Now that is definitely a very slimline watch, so it wouldn't catch on anything. And it goes in line with the overall aesthetics of this dress watch. In regards to the bracelet here, it actually tapers down from 20 millimeters all the way down to 17.5 millimeters. Now we do have a stainless steel clasp here. It is rather plain, there's no micro adjustments available, but do we really expect anything more for just $13? Otherwise, it's okay. It does feel a bit on the cheap side because you do get a bit of that tinny clutter. You can sort of hear it. It's not too bad, but it's not amazing. But then again, right, you're not going to be walking around shaking it all around. You'll be wearing this on your wrist. And on the wrist, it looks more than decent enough. In regards to the weight, this is 137 grams. Considering I did remove 2 links from either side of the bracelet, that brought the weight down to just 117 grams. If we talk about the dial, it's coral red. You will see that you have baton indices all around, as well as a minute tracker printed on the dial. Now you get the double battens at the 12, the 6 and the 9 o'clock. At 3 o'clock we've got a date window. All battens as well as the date window are edged in chrome. We can also see that the double battens as well as the single battens at the hour positions are actually covered in lume. The hands also have lume at the tips of the hands. There are 3 hands in total, the minute, the hours, as well as a seconds pointer. The brand name Aknight, its logo, and the text is actually applied just under the 12 o'clock position, while the 5 ATM water resistant and Japan movement text is printed just above the 6 o'clock position. It's quite an open and a clear dial. I do like it. If we'll talk about the rehaut, so basically the space that fills the walls or the edges of the dial just under the glass, it looks like they're reflective, so that does give you that nice distortion effect when you turn and look from the sides of the watch. What you'll notice is that the counterbalance of the second hand actually has a 3-pointer in line with the Aknight brand logo. And I think that looks pretty cool. It's very small. It doesn't detract your attention from the time, but it does create a nice effect for the dial. If we talk about the crystal sitting on top of this watch, we just get mineral glass. And again, I think that makes sense. Also, you will notice that we're standing outside filming this, and yet there's quite a bit of reflection. I don't think it deters us from seeing the actual time because of the coral red dial, but there is reflection, and that is due to no anti-glare, no anti-reflective coating being applied here. It's actually just a flat piece of mineral glass sitting on top. There is no dome and there is no distortion that you would expect with a slightly domed crystal. We have a stainless steel case here. It's polished on the sides as well as on the top of the case, including the bezel. We can see that it's even polished where the lugs meet the bracelet. Now, I think that's either an overlook, because it would be nice if the top part of the case here would be brushed to go in line with the brushed bracelet. Now, as we mentioned, the thickness here is quite slim at just 11.4 millimeters. And that is in line with what we'd expect on a premium watch. The case back is signed with lettering all around the edge, saying that it is a Japanese movement. So this watch does use a quartz, a Japanese quartz movement, so that means it is dependable and quite accurate as well. And it is 5 ATM water resistant. Also, it is actually just a snapback case, so it's not screw down, and that sort of explains the 50-meter water resistance rating. We have an unsigned crown here. Unfortunately, it's not a screw-in crown, but again expected at this price point. We can see that it has relatively fine threading and it works in the usual way. So you pull it out at the first position, you can update your date, while at the second position you can adjust the time. So who is this Aknight dress watch for? Before we get into that, I just want to say that I like the brand name, Aknight and Night. I think you can play with that name. I also like the logo and the counterbalance on the second hand. That logo fork, it does look good. It's interesting, definitely. It creates a bit of a luxurious feel to a watch that's not luxury whatsoever. And yet, you would never be able to say that this is a $13 watch. You can get these watches with quite a few colored dials. You can get the green, the yellow, the orange, the red here, or the black. I personally went for the coral red because it stands out. And considering that there is no anti-reflective coating here, even when you do get into direct sunlight, you will still be able to decipher quite easily the time on your watch. Of course, it pays tribute or homage as quite an expensive and luxurious piece. I don't quite think that this watch does it justice, but yet, if you do want a nice timepiece on your hand that has quite a dependable movement, well, this one's got a Japanese quartz on it, so it's not that bad, right? It's splash proof, so you can wash your hands with it. I probably wouldn't go to the pool with it, but hey, you know, out in the rain, you'll be okay. And again, you'll have it for 2 years and then you replace your battery. Personally, as an all-day wearer, yeah, I think it will do the trick. Why not? Thanks for watching this review of the Aknight dress watch in coral red. If you did enjoy it, please drop me a like. If you want to see more of the same, you know what to do. Please hit the red subscribe button below the video. And I'll see you in the next one.